I was seeing comments like it would be so much easier if there was an app that I could just stream into my TV.
The mobile app is the whole point of having this. It's supposed to be on the go. You're supposed to be able to download the videos to your phone.
The app pays for itself, essentially.
I thought these people that have been, with me really deserve an upgraded experience.
Now with Uscreen, I'm wanting to use the app more because of how good it looks and how easy it flows. Notifications happening on all the time because women are providing feedback, asking questions, engaging on the community. It's exciting every time I get to open up my app.
When we launched Buttons Plus where Uscreen, right away, it exceeded my expectations.
Walmart Plus. It's Walmart plus free delivery. Plus, saving time with the delivery part. Plus, saving money with the free part. Which is great for people who never have enough of either. Which, statistically speaking, is everyone. Walmart Plus. It's Walmart Plus.
Doubled or like 5-10x their views just by writing new titles.
This expert has spent thousands of hours analyzing viral titles and the psychology behind getting clicks.
The three kind of click-worthy emotions are fear, curiosity, and desire. And if you can get really good at those three emotions, you're well on your way to writing better titles, growing your channel, because you're getting people's attention and getting them to click.
This is an essential episode. In fact, it might make or break your success on YouTube this year. Our guest today is Jake Thomas, who is a YouTube title nerd. He has actually analyzed more YouTube titles with extreme geeky precision and ultimately is the creator of the Creator Hooks newsletter as well as software. And he can really explain to us how to write viral titles and why titles work. And so this is going to be a juicy episode. Jake, welcome back to the Think Media podcast.
Sean, thanks for having me, man. That was an awesome intro.
Well, I'm so grateful for you. Last time we talked in social media marketing world, you were wearing YouTube shorts, physically shorts with YouTube logos on them. The most genius marketing idea I've ever seen, and very entertaining for me. But I'm excited to dive into today's content. First off, you suggest this. You say actually never be original with your titles, but always model your titles off of previously successful videos. Can you elaborate on what that process looks like for you?
Yeah, of course. So a couple of years ago, I got my first YouTube job, and I was managing a channel, and I was horrible at titles, and I almost got fired because I was so bad at titles. And my boss is like, listen, this is the most important part of your job. And if you can't do this right, you're not going to be here. So what I first did was I was like, all right, let me just try to write all these titles that I can think of. And they were always lame, complicated, super clickbaity, hyperbolic. Just, I didn't really know what made a good title. And the thing that clicked for me and finally I actually got good at writing titles and we tripled our subscribers, quadrupled our revenue, was I stopped trying to I got out of my own head. I stopped trying to be original. All I did was find another title that worked that was kind of similar and just rewrite that for my video. So like I said, I didn't know what made a good title, but then when you kind of copy good titles literally thousands of times, and you'll finally figure out what works. But just looking at kind of adjacent channels or similar videos and just modeling those taught me what actually makes a good title and what makes people click.
So the big idea here was you could go to YouTube, and now there are all of these. YouTube is mature. There's such a huge library of content. There's a lot of content in, if you're listening to this, your niche. Someone's probably already making videos about your same topic. Or saying adjacent, the meaning of adjacent would be you might have a YouTube channel about plumbing and somebody else might have a YouTube channel about construction, but a title that crushed on the plumbing channel, you're like, well, if I'm doing construction stuff, I could use that as a template, as a framework, as a formula. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So we had a fishing company, or we were a fishing company, and we had a fishing channel, and it's specifically saltwater fishing in the Southeast. So it's kind of niche. There were no other channels like us. Like we were doing educational content, like we were doing entertainment vlogs. So it was very specific. We had very few, well, we had no good competitors. So what I would do is like, I would go to a finance channel, and the title would be like 10 best credit cards of 2025. And I would write 10 best trout lures of 2025. And that's all I would do, just like kind of one for one. Like, this is, the number one trick to budgeting for beginners. Okay, the number one trick for catching redfish for beginners. And really just trying to find those adjacent or similar channels. And I look at kind of the same style. So you said like, plumbing and construction, we're like kind of talking head education. And so I would look for talking head educational videos, in finance, marketing, some makeup stuff, but really just like, channels, especially channels that are in competitive niches. So like, obviously if you have no competitors and your channel, your niche is really popular, like you can get away with crummy titles. But if you're in a competitive niche, you have to be really good to get views. So by going to those big competitive niches, if a video has a lot of views in there, like that's a pretty good sign that that's a good title and a good thumbnail.
In your opinion, do you think the average creator takes titles seriously enough?
I don't, judging by the amount of people who tell me that they slap a title on like right as they're uploading the video, I don't think so.
What do you think is the difference in view potential that just the title alone could make?
Potentially, hundreds, millions. Two like quick stories. So I wrote titles for it's like a real estate investing channel. And their content was kind of crummy. No offense to them, but it's real estate investing. Lots of money. They didn't need that many views. So before I started writing titles for them, they were getting about like 100 to like 500 views a video. I just started writing better titles, same exact content, like nothing changed about the content, just new titles. And we started getting like 1,000, like sometimes 5,000 views on a video. So like we doubled or like 5-10x'd their views just by writing new titles. So that was a very kind of simple win. And if you're a real estate investing channel and you double your views and you double your traffic, that's some serious money. And then another example, I had a kind of a faceless channel that was Little Experiment. It was in the dog niche, and I modeled another video that got about 1 million views. And it was the same topic, but I tried a new kind of title style, and that video got 7 million views. So, that was a difference of 6 million views for just a new title style. So for having better titles could be huge for your channel. And it's just 5 to 10 words, right? It's just titles. I think titles are probably the highest leverage skill you can have, in online business.
I think you're exactly right. 99% of creators are underestimating how important titles are and missing out on exactly what you said. Without even improving or changing the content, they're missing out on 5x, 10x more views, 100 times more views just by mastering this skill. Hey, we're about to get back into the podcast in just a second, but I have a question for you. Do you want to grow your personal brand this year? Do you need more leads and sales in your business? If the answer is yes, then right now is the best time to go all in on YouTube. Today's podcast is brought to you by thinkmasterclass.com, where you can get on-demand access to a 1-hour deep dive training revealing how to start and grow a profitable YouTube channel this year. For a limited time, you can get access to this on-demand class entirely for free, where you will learn the 3 biggest mistakes that people make when starting a YouTube channel, the new rules and changes that have been happening on YouTube, and how you can use them them to create an unfair advantage. And the exact strategy we use at Think Media to generate over 350,000 organic views every single day. The data is clear. 70% of viewers claim that YouTube makes them more aware of new brands. So don't wait any longer to start growing your brand and business with YouTube. Just go to thinkmasterclass.com to get access to this no-fluff, highly tactical, free on-demand training. That's thinkmasterclass.com. So one of the things you recommend people do is they create a Dream 10 and a Model 10 list. Can you explain what those lists are and how they can help creators write better titles?
Yeah, definitely. So the Dream 10 is just pretty much your competitors. And I don't, so a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to steal my competitor's stuff. And I 100% agree. But from your Dream 10, and it doesn't have to be 10, it could be 3 or 4 or 5. I love to find topics from my competitors. I'll look at what's working for my channel. I'll look at what's working, for my Dream 10, for my couple of competitors. And I'm just looking for topics. I'm not looking for titles. Just like, all right, if a video is about, for example, finance, credit cards, like that's a good topic. Budgeting might be a good topic. You're looking for outlier videos. So, if one of my competitors, every video gets 10,000, 5,000, 7,000, 12,000. Well, if one video gets 50,000, it's like, okay, that's an outlier, noted. I'll write that down and then I'll ask myself, what is that topic? So you go through all of your competitors and your own channel and you say, all right, what are the 5 to 10 topics that I see all the time? So boom, that's how you use your Dream 10, get your proven topics. And then for your Model 10, that's those adjacent channels that we looked at. It's just a list of channels that you look up to, that you like, and they're not your competitors. They're not talking about the same topic as you, but they're kind of adjacent. You like the way they do things, kind of most importantly, like you like their thumbnails, you like their titles, and we're, not to just get super meta in here, but you can use this for everything. Your scripts, your intros, your offers, your end screen CTAs. How do you do CTAs and ask people to subscribe? All that stuff. All that could be answered in your Dream 10 and your Model 10. But anyway, with the Model 10, I'm looking for frameworks. So again, I'm looking for outlier videos, and when I see an outlier video, I'm asking myself, all right, what got people to click here? What was the framework? Was it 10 tips to blank for beginners in 2024? Or was it, the number one thing I wish I knew before blank? Those would be some examples of frameworks. So you go through your Dream 10, you get your topics, go through your Model 10, you get your frameworks, and then you put those frameworks and topics together, and then you can come up with, essentially kind of unlimited ideas from just marrying proven topics with proven frameworks.
I think this is such an underrated approach. Pablo Picasso is famous for saying, good artists copy, great artists steal. And even Steve Jobs was later captured saying, listen, we're absolutely going to look at competitors, adjacent industries to pull the best ideas. And I think the word choice you used, frameworks, is very powerful, because we're not talking about copying word for word, and we're not talking about just mirroring everything, but it's a template. If they've created a winning template, top 10 list, maybe even how it's introed, how the stakes are raised in the hook, there's just so many things you can learn. And then you're plugging your own unique self, your own unique style. And I think even a key word here would be your own unique spin or remix to a proven framework. And would you also say, and maybe another word for frameworks could also be formats? And yes. I mean, talking head is a format, a live stream is a format, a vlog maybe is a format, man on the street is a format. Yeah.
I would look for channels that make content in the same format as me. They have the same content style. If you're looking at spectacle channels and you're a talking head educational channel, it's not going to be that helpful. If you're looking at gaming videos and you're a makeup vlogger, it's just not. It's not as helpful.
Got you. And so on the one hand, maybe you could be inspired by a format you haven't tried, because perhaps you could go to the city that would be actually borrowing a format and be like, I'm going to actually try a man on the street.
An unprecedented transcontinental race begins on Nintendo Switch 2. Mario Kart World.
Daniel, we're ready for you. I see you have experience with sharks.
A wider smile brightens more than just your teeth. Colgate Optic White's unique hydrogen peroxide technology is engineered to remove deeper stains for a visible difference in just 3 days. So you can live life to the brightest.
Actually borrowing a format and be like, I'm going to actually try it man on the street. But to your point, if you're like, wow, look at this spectacle YouTuber, they're getting all these views. Let me try their title, their thumbnail, but you just sit in your office. There's nothing near that level of spectacle. Then you're missing out on a key ingredient, which is the overall format and strategy of the video. That makes a lot of sense. You mentioned the importance of separating out traffic source when it comes to crafting your title. Can you help us, if we're new to how YouTube gives us views, maybe explain your favorite traffic sources and then explain how titles can tie into whether your video shows up in search or whether it maybe is suggested by the YouTube algorithm?
Yeah, so I have in the past kind of, it's a pendulum, right? I've gone on both sides of there. If you're going for search, there's fewer potential views typically. And like, especially if we're talking about like speed, like if you want to blow up a channel fast, ranking in search is often not the best way. However, if you want to make money and, if you get 10 views on your video, but you rank number 1 for best neighborhoods in Manhattan, you're probably going to make a ton of money, right? So it kind of depends on your business. Like, how do you monetize? Are you a faceless channel who's relying on AdSense? You probably don't want to make search videos because there's potentially fewer views. Or if you're a realtor, you might want to do a little bit more search because if you can get in front of the right people who are searching for a new house, then that's a ton of money. So search versus browse depends on your business, and then also how you write titles, kind of like your traffic source dictates how you write titles. So for instance, if you're trying to rank in search, people aren't searching for, or typically aren't really searching for 10 mistakes. Like, it's usually all positivity and desire and benefits in search. However, if you go on the homepage and you see, 10 mistakes to this, fear of messing up or just fear in general, it does a great job at kind of grabbing your attention and getting you to click. So I love using fear if I'm trying to get on the YouTube homepage or the sidebar. But if I'm trying to do search, then it's usually just straight up benefits and really, understanding why my audience is searching. So, maybe if they're searching for best laptops, you're probably going to see 5 best laptops in 2024 or 5 best laptops for students in 2024. So kind of analyzing what the top search results are can kind of give you some insight into, all right, who is searching? Why are they searching? What's the core benefit here? What types of videos are working well? And then you can kind of bake that into your content and your title and your thumbnail. But then it's kind of a little bit of a free-for-all if you're trying to get on the YouTube homepage. You just need to grab somebody's attention. You need to go hard on curiosity. Like, you really need to nail curiosity if you're trying to get on YouTube's homepage. Or you can have a huge, big desire that a lot of people want, or fear. The 3 kind of click-worthy emotions are fear, curiosity, and desire. And if you can get really good at those 3 emotions, you're well on your way to writing better titles and growing your channel because you're getting people's attention and getting them to click.
I want to drill down on this part. This is really powerful stuff. And if we're talking about getting discovered for search, what you're saying is if someone actually is quite literally going to type in a search term, they are about to purchase a new laptop, so they're researching laptops, or they're looking for top laptops of current year, best laptops, or how to lose weight, how to grow your YouTube channel. And they're probably not going to type, to your point. What are the biggest mistakes guys make when trying to talk to a girl for the first time? But now if we step away from search and we step into browse and they see a thumbnail and a title that says 7 mistakes that kill your chances of getting a second date, and they're like, oh man, that's fear. I want to get that second date. Or 7 mistakes content creators make that are killing their channel. Am I making these mistakes? And so it's less search based, it's more desire based. I'm curious. One of the things we've noticed is under browse, trying to get attention, is this idea of just total curiosity, total mystery, meaning this new YouTube feature is a game changer and it has no revelation of what the new YouTube feature is. Now, that could be very powerful. We found that can work. One of the challenges we found, though, is also to the degree you do that, sometimes your content library becomes this generic pool of videos that are all just a bunch of curiosity titles, and sometimes just an interesting side quest, hard to maybe find or source or know what the video is about, because in essence, maybe the new YouTube feature is YouTube Shorts, but you don't want to reveal that, or the fact they're 3 minutes now. And so what do you feel like the tension of maybe a strategic creator bouncing between these two title styles, and playing with some of these open loops, but it doesn't really give you clarity. It's sort of, really trying to get the click, but yet once it, for the long tail of that video, it maybe doesn't make sense, and all of your videos could start sounding somewhat the same, or just a bunch of curiosity open loops. What are your thoughts about that tension?
I think I have potentially a controversial take on that. I'm a big fan of focus on pretty much almost everything that you do. Okay. So I think that many channels would be well off if they only focused on one of those traffic sources. Like, are you a search channel? Then just go so hard on search. Are you browse? Go, make no search videos. And there's a couple of reasons that I kind of like that approach. Is one, just think about the type of user that you're attracting. So if I bring in somebody who's searching for something, they might not, they're on YouTube for a specific reason. They want to find their solution. So they might not be interested in some other things, but and YouTube wants you to binge, or wants people to binge your channel. So if you have kind of a mix of like search and discovery type videos, if I find you via a discovery video, like, this new YouTube feature is a game changer, and then I go to your channel and it's like, how to write end screen call to actions to grow your channel. It's like, okay, well, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for YouTube growth. Or maybe it's just like this, how to, just a super in the weeds, video. I'm not going to click on that. It's not where my brain is at right now. So the type of user, might not be as likely to binge if there's, if there are different styles of videos. So, do you have any thoughts on that actually?
Well, I know it's a super interesting take. Here's another question. What do you think about changing titles? Browse for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but if the video plateaus out, and then repositioning it maybe for search later.
Yeah, I think I like that. I like that strategy. It's kind of you got to see what's happening, right? But it also depends on, when you start the video, are people searching for this anyway? Because if people are not searching for that topic, then maybe it doesn't make sense to really write a searchable title, because they're not searching for it. So you might start off getting a ton of views, because it hit the algorithm and hit all your subscribers' homepage. But then it fizzles out. So you change it to a search topic or a search title, but then nobody was searching for that. So either way, it's dead in the water, right?
Let's play a game. we talk about cameras, and we eventually maybe know like the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is going to be very searchable, and maybe the video is about the best camera for YouTube, and maybe a conviction is that that is the answer. And eventually it would make sense, like best camera for YouTube this year, product name, pros, cons, something else. But during the launch of the video, perhaps we want to say like, is this the best camera for YouTube ? With a picture, with the thumbnail even being different with the camera and the question mark. So I would say this, it's going to be verifiably, there's going to be search later on, but perhaps for the launch of it, by revealing the product name and everything else, it'll do fine. But then people are like, yeah, I already know that, or I've been seeing about that, or I'll save to watch that later, as opposed to like the sheer curiosity of like, what's on the other side of what is the best camera for YouTube. So in that particular case study, what are kind of your thoughts and strategies around that?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I will tell you, I think I got hints of this opinion from some other people, and I'm like, okay, I think I agree with that. And I was looking at a couple channels, and I'm like, I like this theory. And then I looked at Think Media's channel, and I'm like, okay, I think I might be wrong here. So I looked at some of your competitors, and you guys were getting way more views than they were. And it's like, you know what? I bet that Think Media just has a massive backlog of searchable videos, and that is how they're winning. That is how they're doing better, because they have really nailed search. And I kind of found myself, when I was looking up camera stuff, I landed on Think Media, and when I was kind of making my setups, I binged your channels because it was, and I only binged kind of that, only like YouTube studio setup, kind of that cluster. So so I don't know. You guys did an awesome job at refuting that example.
I got you. So people have to have real self-awareness about maybe their niche, even their capacity. Think Media has grown. Of course, I started, by myself, just making videos. But as you know, it's grown into more of a team effort and ability media company kind of scale, so we can have a lot of volume. And I appreciate the kind words. That's an interesting observation. Of course, especially too, when you sometimes launch with search-based content, there might be somebody named Roblox22 in the comments that's like, why do you get no views on your new video? Because when it's launched something very obscure, it gets 3,300 views, which you could almost say is embarrassing with a channel with 3 million subscribers. Then you might be like, hey, bro, I don't know if you check the back end, but Think Media is pumping 4, 5, 6 million views a month like clockwork. And so we're just that it's education, and obviously there's all kinds of different strategies and channels that are trying. Any final thoughts on this conversation?
Also, the way you all monetize and the topics that you talk about also kind of lends you to be able to do that. If you are making, a lot of your stuff is about products, your reviews, and I bought a lot of the, I have a Rode mic here, a lot of the stuff that you all reviewed in the past, I bought, and you all probably got a lot of commission for that. So in that case, so with my dog channel, I couldn't do that. It's just an entertainment dog channel, and and also it's just entertainment. So I mean, I know I'm just kind of rambling here, but it depends on your capacity to produce a lot of content like you all are doing. And I think it also depends on your goals and how you make money.
Yeah, so key. There's definitely distinct questions. What is your YouTube money plan? What's your bigger strategy? What's going to be best for you? Which kind of goes into this next question. You say that titles are more important than thumbnails for education channels. So for education channels, titles are actually more important than thumbnails. But for entertainment channels, it's the opposite. Thumbnails are more important than titles. Break down why that's your belief.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it kind of depends on the user. So if you're an entertainment channel, you are, you're probably not ranking in search, right? You're you're trying to stop people in their tracks on the homepage. Also, if you're an entertainment channel, you kind of want to show something entertaining. It's a lot kind of easier to show like something crazy happening in a thumbnail if you're doing something crazy, and if you're an entertainment channel. If you're an educational channel, people are a little bit, they're thinking more, right? They're more passive, more actively deciding what video they're going to watch. They don't want to waste their time, so they want to confirm that they want to watch your video when they read the title. Like, the thumbnail might kind of grab their attention, but like they're looking for education at that time. Like, you need to kind of be like, hey, like this is actually what you want to watch. This video is for you, and this video will kind of give you some benefit. Versus like Mr. Beast is like about to blow up a Lamborghini or something, and like he shows that moment right before it blows up, and it's like, oh, I got to see that. It's just it's a little bit different in education, and you can just kind of make a better promise in your title. That it's like, oh, shoot, like you are going to get something awesome if you watch this video. And the easiest kind of best way to do that is with your titles.
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is our go-to platform here at Think Media for live streaming to Facebook and YouTube, and for recording our video podcast. It has an incredibly easy to use interface for built-in branding, transitions, text lower thirds, and seamlessly bringing on guests. And they just added an awesome new feature called local recording. This allows you to take the quality to another level by separating out your audio and video from your guests, giving you more control over your content for later use. This feature is perfect for video and podcast creators. And so to get a special deal on StreamYard right now and to see all the features that are included, just go to streamwiththink.com. That is streamwiththink.com. So the mindset of the viewer in entertainment, it's almost like you actually sit down on the couch, no clue what you want to watch. I'm just going to open the app and I'm looking for something to watch. So what grabs my attention? And you see this Whistling Diesel video with a Ferrari on fire in a cornfield, and you're like, what is that? Which I didn't even know who Whistling Diesel was until that video hit. And I got to say, it's a pretty fire video, literally. And I was like, and so that reached me, of course, because of algorithm of thumbnail, but it was a passive approach. That's me like trying to unwind, unplug. So it's an entirely different mindset. If I sit down, I'm thinking more, I'm actively deciding, I'm trying to solve a problem. If the title is actually maybe all 100 characters and it's like, comprehensive guide for how to set up this piece of software, and then it tells you maybe even some additional keywords, you're like, yeah, that's like what I want. I don't want to waste my time. I don't also necessarily, if you apply the entertainment principle to it, it's like I don't want some hype-filled approach to even this software. Even if the person's monotonous, I just am looking to solve the problem. So it's a very interesting. Am I hitting what you're describing here?
Yeah, I think so. You're proposing a solution in a solution, a benefit, a fear, a hope, whatever that is in your title, and you're promising like, hey, like this is what you're going to get out of this video, where it's a little bit more like wordy, whereas the Whistling Diesel video, like, he's promising what he's going to get in this video with a Ferrari on fire. And that's, it's easier to do with entertainment because you have something crazy. And then it's easier to do, to make a big promise in education with your title, because you're describing what they're going to get.
Thumbnails versus titles, or rather how they work together to create a compelling package. How do you feel in general about including words in your thumbnail? And is there too many? Can your thumbnail be too busy?
So you might have to put this, on the screen. But when I think about titles and thumbnails, I think of that meme. I think it's D Wade throwing an alley-oop to LeBron, and like D Wade is like, oh, and like LeBron's in the background dunking. And it might be flopped, but I'm pretty sure it's D Wade to LeBron. And like that's how like titles and thumbnails like work together. Like it's a 1-2 punch. They're complementary. They're not the same. They're complementary. Working together to achieve a goal. So I love titles, but but still, like, the thumbnail is incredibly important. I do love thumbnail text. I love complimentary thumbnail text, kind of thinking like the 1-2 punch. I like to kind of, so I mentioned the three click-worthy emotions: curiosity, fear, and desire. I might have like, fear in the thumbnail and then curiosity in the title, or like, curiosity in the thumbnail and then desire in the title. So that's a kind of an easy way for you to think about different angles to, all right, what do I put in my thumbnail text? What do I put in my title? But yeah, love titles, or love thumbnail text. I like to keep it short, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. It also depends on your niche, really. Podcast channels, they can get away with like more words. Entertainment channels usually, do fewer words. So like we mentioned the Dream 100 or the Dream 10 earlier, go look at your Dream 10, see, are they using thumbnails and their, words in their thumbnails? How many words are they using? Is it mostly text? Is it like, what's their style? And also doing that for the Model 10 as well, just kind of give your answer, because it depends on every different channel. I do love A/B testing. I've A/B tested thumbnail text, no thumbnail text. On the channels that I run, thumbnail text wins every single time. Thumbnails with text. So that's how I've got my answer. And if you want that answer for your channel, you can also run that same test, and you'll get a great answer for your channel versus me just kind of, speaking here on a podcast.
Yeah, and I would recommend split test for yourself. There is an interesting trend at this exact moment, which is this anti-thumbnail, a little bit of like underproduced. And so we'll sometimes do kind of a design thumbnail, a text thumbnail, and then just me like mid-sentence with like my hand up. And that in some cases, paired with a really great title, is outperforming. But the cool thing about the YouTube split test feature is you kind of never know. And there's different trends and there's so many variables. So actually doing the split test. Do you also split test titles ever?
I do. I love split testing titles, because like, yes, you can optimize a current video, but you can also, as a title nerd, I have a lot of theories about titles, and I'll test my theories and be like, okay, I think that if I do this, then it will get more views.
How do you do it?
So, how do I A/B test? Thumbnailtest.com.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I've used a TubeBuddy as well. They're kind of the same.
Yeah.
But I like them. Thumbnail Test has a few more options. But yeah, so I might think like, all right, maybe my audience really loves curiosity. I'll try to open up a loop. This is going to be a straight curiosity title, but also, I do know that they love desire. Like, I'll have a kind of a straight up kind of desire based title, and I'll test those two. Like, oh, curiosity actually worked really well here. For my next video, I might do the same thing, curiosity versus desire. And like, oh, curiosity won again here. Like, okay, maybe I need to rethink my strategy, and curiosity, I should start with curiosity. So that's one thing. Another thing that I've done in the past is I have included in my intro kind of a couple different topics. And then for my thumbnail or for my title test, I'll include a couple different titles. If they do similarly well, I'll just make another video using a different title. So that's a kind of a simple way for you to kind of pre-vet titles. Be like, okay, like I know that my audience will click this title. I'm gonna actually save this for another video, and I'm just gonna kind of include that. And maybe in like a month or two, I'm gonna do that again. And that's a kind of a fun way to de-risk your the odds that your video is gonna fail.
Well, help me understand. So would that maybe be like, in this video, I'm going to help you learn how to get views and subscribers, and then split test titles for how to get more views, or one for how to get more subscribers, and then whichever one wins, what would you do? Make another video?
Whichever one wins, I'll probably keep that one on this video. But it's like, all right, so my winner got an 8% click-through rate. The other one got a 7.5% click-through rate. It's like, okay, well, most of my titles get 6% click-through rate. I'm definitely going to use this one that got a 7.5% click-through rate on another video.
And so in a niche, like whether your dog channel or something else, what would be an example of how you would hook that? of like three different topics, but that without it being too broad in the overall video?
So, so maybe it's a list. So in this specific example I'm talking about, it was a list. So let's say it's about like, basketball. It's like, the weirdest basketball plays that, the weirdest NBA plays in history, from, Michael Jordan getting his ankles broken to Larry Bird dunking on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to blah, blah, blah. And, and I'll list a third one. So maybe there are kind of three, kind of previewing three of the things in the list. I might have three titles for each of those three things in the list, and they're in the video. But then if one of them does well, I'll keep that. If another one does pretty well, the second place video did pretty well, I might make a second video all about that second place thing.
This is an advanced level conversation, and we're about to even go deeper. So I would recommend listeners stick with us because it's about to get, crazy. We're about to go even deeper in the matrix. But I also want to encourage listeners that there's kind of levels to the game, and just getting a little bit better at titles, just getting a little bit better before it's hard enough to write one, let alone software and split testing and multiple thumbnails and multiple different things. But this kind of just speaks to how crazy YouTube gets. And on this question, I do want to bring up, I'm curious your thoughts and opinions. Diary of a CEO revealed that they split test 3 different thumbnail facial concepts. Usually it's the interview guest on the video podcast with about 25 different text on thumbnails per face. And I'm guessing they don't do that on YouTube. I'm guessing they maybe do it somewhere else with a small ad budget or something, or maybe they do. I don't know how they would get that much data that quickly.
I'm pretty sure I've seen their Facebook ad library, a screenshot of their Facebook ad library. So they're running Facebook ads to that.
So, and already that's such a level. And I think Steve Bartlett revealed, you did an interview somewhere about how his $25 million a year empire, which frames that if you're not doing 7 figures, perhaps it's not that you would have to be doing that much, is the level of team and depth and help and whatever. The thing that's interesting though is the fact that you take a channel like that that's investing thousands, maybe millions of dollars in testing, and you can go to their channel and then see the results. So you can pull a lot of clues. Like one of the words I noticed on that channel is lying. They're lying to you. The government's lying to you. Doctors are lying to you. Your spouse is lying to you. You'll see lying. I mean, a lot of thumbnails as a quote pulled out of the interview, they highlight the word lying. To your point, there's maybe 3 to 5 words in each of the thumbnails. Another one we'll look at is impact theory. And we saw the powerful word change. And we realized how that triggers the human brain. Because if we can't even help it as humans, we are scanning our environment to, if we wake up one day, if you take us back to more primitive times, we look around, we're okay, the kids are good. Look on the horizon, well, it looks like it's going to be sunny, no big deal. Look around, wife's okay, cool. Now, if you wake up and you see footprints of a vicious beast that was in your camp, something changed. Okay, you look on the horizon and you see a storm coming, you're oh, it's that. What is that going to mean for me down the road? So when it's YouTube is changing, fitness is changing, changes are coming, and so I was man, they're using change in some of their most viewed videos. Changes are coming to the economy. We're about to get into some of your click triggers. I'm just curious your take on pro level title thumbnail game from maybe Diary of a CEO or others you've worked with, and lessons we could learn for where maybe those that are scaling their YouTube channel, envisioning the future, or even ready to play the game at a bigger level, what they could be learning from what the pros do.
Yeah, I mean, I do love change as well. I've got a list of some of my power words up here. Change is number 2. Change is so cool because it's vague, right? It's so open-ended. This water bottle has changed my life. It's okay, what changed? Yeah. But also there's a lot of desire there. Yes, I want to change my life. I also want to know what changed. How did it change? There's so much. It's one word, but there's so much emotion and story implied by that one word, which is cool.
I gotta know the power words. At least give me the top 5
habits. And I will say that I have tested habits on some entertainment channels. They did horrible. But habits might be one. So in Creator Hooks, my newsletter, I've got a database of like 1,100 viral videos, and habits is one of the power words I see all the time. People love habits; they're so tangible. You know exactly what a habit is, and we like our kind of culture is like obsessed with habits. So habits change, stop. If you tell someone to stop doing a best practice, that's like, that uses negativity, curiosity, it's counterintuitive. Like, wait, why would I stop? Why would I stop doing this? It doesn't make any sense. It's also like a warning too. Always and every as well. Those just kind of make a video feel a little bit more epic. The one thing I always do before publishing a video. It's like, wait, okay, you always do this. Like, it must be pretty cool. Or like, I tried every YouTube idea software out there. Here's what I learned. It's like, okay, like this is a very comprehensive video. They tried every single one. So always and ever are two. And then only is also kind of the same thing. The only thing I do before publishing my YouTube videos. It's like, oh shoot, like, what is this? Only. And then like new and never. People love new things. Never also has a lot of emotion. The one thing I never do before publishing my YouTube video. It's like, why would he never do this? Am I missing out on something? Like, am I actually doing this thing? So those are a couple power words that that I've just been thinking about. I haven't made them official power words, but I'm on the lookout for them. They're on my watch list, and I take a note whenever I see them.
This just might be one of the most valuable Think Media podcasts we've ever published. And if you are getting value, it always is helpful to rate and review the podcast, or like and leave a comment if you'd want Jake to be coming back in the future. I do want to hit some of these click triggers, but you got me inspired because I know you are you're a student, you're a learner, and you've been deep in kind of online marketing, communication, and copywriting for a long time. I am curious if you have any favorite books. We'll link those up in the show notes. Favorite books. I know there are some classic books, kind of like Power Words is a book, but some of them also, they're written maybe for people that are writing persuasive marketing copy, which ties into this. Is there any that maybe creators could benefit from if they want to get extra geeky? And any books in general that YouTube creators should read that are some of your favorites?
Yeah, I got 3 for you. The Adweek Guide to Copywriting. It's by Joe Sugarman. It's a really long title. It's Adweek Guide to something like that. But that's one of my favorite books. It's funny. I'm rereading it for I think maybe the 4th or 5th time, and he's talking about pretty much writing like editorials, ads, and I'm like, this is just YouTube. Like, he's like, you need to like get right into it. Like, somebody's gonna like they're gonna flip the page because he's talking about like ads and like catalogs, magazines. He's like, you need to grab their attention right away. You need to like instill like seeds of curiosity to keep them going. You need to have an image that grabs their attention and a little little blurb under that kind of like piques their curiosity even more. And I'm like, this book was written in like the 70s or the 80s, and it's just the same psychology. And he talks about kind of emotional things that grab people's attention. But yeah, that's one of my favorite books is that by Joe Sugarman, Cashvertising by Drew Whitman. It's another great book. And he talks about emotions and just like the psychology of what gets people's attention. That's a pretty short book, but it's an awesome one. And then the other one is Age of Propaganda by Andre Protkanis and somebody else, but it's Age of Propaganda. And those 3 books, I've probably read them 3, 4, or 5 times, and it's just psychology, which is the thing that I like to nerd out about the most is psychology and persuasion and getting people's attention. And those 3 books are perfect for anybody who is excited about YouTube titles and psychology, really just content marketing in general. Those 3 books will help you.
3 books every YouTube content creator should read: Adweek Guide to Copywriting, Cashvertising, and Age of Propaganda. And we'll of course link those up in the show notes. I actually am going to want to turn this into 2 parts if you've got the time. So I want to subscribe if you wanted to listen to part 2, because we're already 46 minutes into the convo. And I do want, though, to give a shout out to your stuff. If people want to connect with you, you have one of the most valuable newsletters, and we can link to that. But go ahead and describe that, as well as your software, whatever else, and we'll link it up in the show notes. So break it down.
Cool. Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn at Jake Thomas. Just search Jake Thomas. You'll see a guy with a hat, a beard, and a golden retriever, and that is me. And then also creatorhooks.com. So we talked about like the Model 10 earlier, finding examples of successful titles outside of your niche. That's the newsletter is essentially like a done for you service of that. Like I'll send you 5 viral videos that did really well every single Monday morning, and then I'll kind of explain why they did well, and I'll share examples of how you could use that for I'll kind of break down that format or that framework, and then examples of how you could use it for your channel. So that's a newsletter, and then I have a Creator Hooks Pro, which is just like kind of an automated, more personalized version of this. We've talked about click triggers and formats, and you can plug in your video topic, and it will use all of those click triggers and formats to come up with video titles for you, to kind of help you kind of see things from a different angle and get the wheels spinning, and then see, oh cool, like this, these 10 titles are awesome for my video. I'm going to use this title for my, this one for my title, this one for my thumbnail text, and like this one's going to, inspire my intro and my subheads. So yeah, creatorhooks.com is where you can learn about all that stuff.
And your newsletter's free.
Yes, newsletter's free.
It's a great deal. So check out show notes and resources in the show notes of the podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, share wherever you watch or listen. And really grateful for you being a part of our community. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. And I can't wait to connect with you in a future episode.
Mopping is hard work. Then I tried the Swiffer Power Mop. It has a built-in solution that breaks down dirt on contact. Plus, its 360-degree swivel head cleans up along baseboards and even behind the toilet. Bye-bye, bucket. The Swiffer Power Mop.
At the crossroads of vision and precision, a leading space agency transforms ambition into reality, driven by the power of Smartsheet. By coordinating teams and tracking vital components, AI-enabled workflows help every mission stay on course. Obstacles become streamlined pathways, empowering these pioneers to turn missions into milestones. Smartsheet, helping workflow to make the impossible possible.
I've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I think that this episode will be worth your time. I'm going to be talking about 5 benefits of starting a YouTube channel this year. YouTube has 2.7 billion monthly active users right now, so there's a massive audience, and the creator economy is expanding and booming. There's a lot of opportunities to earn a side income, start an online business, but there's also a lot of challenges right now. And so we're going to be covering sort of what's the landscape of YouTube, what are some of the opportunities. And personally, I have been doing YouTube for over 10 years. I've got 3 silver play buttons, a gold play button. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've also had quite a few successes that I think will serve you and help you maybe make some decisions for what you want to do next when it comes to your YouTube journey. So let's dive in. So here are 5 reasons it's smart to start a YouTube channel in 2025. Number 1 is to get discovered and to attract a following. The first big idea is that the audience on YouTube is massive. Is there competition? For sure. And it actually gets a little bit more fierce every day. But when we look at the fact that there is 2.7 billion with a B people that consume YouTube every single month, it's an absolutely staggering number. And then you think about like the largest YouTuber. If you add up all of his channels, he has maybe 400 million subscribers, which is insane, but is also a drop in the bucket compared to the more macro global audience on YouTube. And then when you look at some of the famous articles like Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, and you realize if you have like 1,000 true fans, like not 1,000 subscribers, but like 1,000 people who like love what you do and support you. And if you monetize in the different ways, like that's the kind of thing that they're doing to support you, you could have a full-time income with a small audience. You only need maybe a few of the right leads for your business with a small channel. And so the numbers are huge. And one of the biggest questions that comes in is like, but Sean, isn't YouTube saturated now? And I can actually definitively, scientifically say YouTube is not saturated. I think that this made sense to me, as a dad now with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. We have bath time and you have a sponge to clean your kids off. And if you put that sponge into the bath water, at some point it is completely saturated. It's full. You pull it out, it cannot contain and hold any more water and soap. So here's the question. Is YouTube full? Can it contain any more videos? Well, kind of a funny question. Like it's not full. Like people are still uploading videos. And then there's another question. Are people done watching videos? They're like, yep, I've seen enough. Isn't that maybe actually true though? You know what I mean? But we still watch more content. I've seen enough. I don't think I want any new videos. I'm just going to watch the old ones. No, we love new stuff. We love novelty, new videos, current events. Like media is always expanding. YouTube is expanding. And who knows where YouTube's going to be in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. But here and now, it's the #1 video platform. It's alive and well. It's the best. I think it was Washington Post that said it's the healthiest economy on the internet. Like out of the digital economies, YouTube is responsible for so many jobs directly and also indirectly through the creator economy and people like you that want to start channels. So it's not saturated. I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying that it's possible and it's a great place to get discovered and to attract a following. But let's go a little bit deeper. Another aspect of this is the YouTube algorithm itself is designed to surface relevant content to viewers. So when you learn to make strategic content and you learn how the YouTube algorithm works, you'd be shocked about how brand new channels can start getting discovered and start building a following, even if they're starting right now in 2025. In fact, YouTube actually has a dedicated team to new and small channels to work on the algorithm to help give up-and-comers a shot. And this isn't like an altruistic, because they're just saints and they just care about creators. Ultimately, I do believe they care, but YouTube's a business and they're in it to make money. And the way they make money is advertising. And the only way they can advertise is if people keep watching content and people keep watching more content and they're satisfied with the different content they're watching about all kinds of weird hobbies and different stories and news and conspiracy theories and fitness and sports, everything. Like there's always this opportunity for people to get into niche, interesting veins. In fact, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, what's the weirdest thing you watch on YouTube? Would you be willing to share that in the comments? What's the weirdest rabbit hole you find yourself going down? Let me know in the comments. And so small creators have a chance to get discovered. That's content discovery, and the YouTube algorithm itself is a favorable algorithm to new channels, especially that learn strategy. Also, search. YouTube is a massive search engine. Now, one of the trendy phrases is YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, which technically defined by Gemini, which is the AI that Google owns, and YouTube is all owned by the same parent company, Alphabet. There's Gemini, there's Google, there's YouTube. And Gemini says, well, YouTube's actually not a search engine, but billions of people search on YouTube, and it's bigger than Bing and Yahoo and all the other search engines combined in and of itself. And so getting discovered and building a following, when you start to understand search-based content and creating content that ranks in search, that's a massive opportunity. And then you can go deeper. Google search. Google loves to surface, meaning promote, meaning when you type a search in Google, or these days, audio prompt, videos are part of the responses, and YouTube videos are part of the responses. So again, this first point is get discovered and build a following. This is figure outable. In fact, if you're new to our channel, hit subscribe, stick around. We'll show you how to do this stuff. And so even if you're starting from scratch in 2025, YouTube is still a great platform to build an audience, to get discovered, to build a following. And then finally, under number 1, the long-term growth potential. There's a term of content, which is my favorite kind of content, and it's called evergreen content. There's kind of 2 big buckets, evergreen content and trending content. Trending content is maybe self-explanatory. A news story breaks, a celebrity is trending, you make a video, you tie into it. You might get a lot of views, but you get them for a few days, and then that video may never be viewed again. The flip kind of content is called evergreen. And I like to think about this, I was born in Seattle, Washington. And so in Seattle, we have all 4 seasons: summer, spring, winter, fall. You'll probably see snow in the winter. You'll see 80, 90 degrees, sunny weather, blue skies in the summer. But we have what's called evergreen trees. And these trees are green all year long. And so evergreen content is similar. It's not just relevant for a week or a day, but for months and even years to come, the videos can continue to get views. So if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I think it's also smart to think about that sometimes it starts slow and that YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. But if you're committed to the long haul, your momentum, there's kind of a good business word called flywheel. Like the flywheel starts slow like a train, like it's slow at the start, but once momentum builds, once you've got some videos out there, especially if they're being found in Google search, YouTube search, the algorithm, and you're maybe getting a few subscribers a month, but then you're getting 100 subscribers a month, but then you get 1,000 subscribers a month. And it builds over time, especially with evergreen content. I actually have a video that's over 15 years old that still gets views. Maybe 2,000 views a year, grows my channel like 19 subscribers, but it's 15 years old. That is crazy if you think about long-term growth potential. And then you start thinking about, what if I just don't stop? And what if I improve? Because your first videos are going to be your worst videos when you start a channel. But what if I just start slow and just kind of get into this thing, but then start to improve as I go? The first big idea is YouTube is a great place to get discovered and to grow a following.
Do you ever wish that YouTube came with a cheat code? Well, it kind of does. It's called vidIQ, and it's packed with AI tools to help you grow your channel faster. Think of it like having a YouTube expert in your corner, giving you personalized tips and tricks to improve your videos so that ultimately you can get more views and subscribers. And the best part is you can try it out for 30 days for just $1. If you want to grab this offer, just go to vidiq.com/think or click the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back into the episode.
The second reason to go all in on YouTube this year is to start or continue building your personal brand. Now, what is the power of building your personal brand? Think about characters like Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Mark Zuckerberg. What do their personal brands allow them to do? Well, if you think about their businesses that they own, their personal brands can help them raise the value of their business, attract top talent, promote their business. Now, additionally, there's some thought leadership. You look at Elon Musk, controversial character, but now getting into politics, leveraging his personal brand for all kinds of things. I mean, he purchased a media company, Twitter. And so there's all kinds of aspects of personal brand. You think about Oprah. Pre-social media, she realized the power of media. As she's building a personal brand, she's able to grow any business that it wants to promote or talk about. She's able to have influence, have open doors of opportunity. Well, Mark Zuckerberg recently went through a whole rebrand. I mean, have you seen him lately? He's got like a chain. I need to get a chain. He's got like, he's all hip now. He's trying to rebrand the face and the vibe of Meta, but he's thinking about the value of the company. He's thinking about future. He's thinking about relationship and perception in the media and with their customers and the public. Okay, what's the point? Your personal brand is leverage for you, even on a small scale. Let's take it to regular, everyday people like you and me. It's like, I'm a small town kid, college dropout, grew up in Arlington, Washington, an hour north of Seattle, went to Arlington High School, and grew up on 6 acres with some goats and horses. And I had no connections in Hollywood. No media connections, nobody like.
I'm Stanley Tucci, and I'm exploring the complex connections between the land, the people, and the food they eat.
Oh my God, it's so good!
In the country I love, Italy.
Nationwide is more than you think.
Yeah, their client-ready market updates make it easier for me to guide clients, giving me more time to keep plans on track. Total time saving.
Okay, say that 3 times fast.
Total time.
You can now because you have more time.
Genius.
tweeting is the worst. But now, there's Spruce. You'll see visible results in 1 hour and dead weeds in 1 day. And it's safe for use around people and pets. Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer. Spruce!
No matter what kind of teeth you gotta brush, Oral-B Electric cleans better with one simple touch. Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head hugs them, cleans them, and gets in between them for 100% cleaner teeth. Your perfect clean starts with Oral-B.
Gave me an open door to start being able to do media, right? We're living in the creator economy. I started to post videos on the internet that I filmed in my bedroom. And today I run a small media company. You know, we got employees and it's weird. Things have gotten kind of official and publishing content. And I've had all kinds of open doors, been in Success Magazine or Forbes and been on stages and stuff. Like, why? You know, well, the power of personal branding. And even before all of that, I think about, I started a YouTube channel and it led to me getting a promotion from a small town, moving to Las Vegas, getting a better job with a better salary, with health benefits, with also like more influence or a chance to learn from just a whole different level of the people I was working with, because I started a YouTube channel and I started to put my thought leadership out there and I started to build a personal brand. And so a couple reasons why it's a great idea to go all in starting a YouTube channel, even if it doesn't get huge, is to showcase your expertise and your passion. To start building a portfolio of your thought leadership, your passion, who are you? That might grow and monetize and go full time. That might lead to job promotions. It might lead to open doors. It might lead to relationships, friendships. In fact, you can connect with a like-minded community. When you start posting content and kind of get into the content creation game, you must start meeting other people. And they often say your network, your net worth is up to your network, or your network is your net worth, which is kind of true. You need to expand your influence, your connections. And starting a YouTube channel, putting some things out into the conversation is one way to do that. Enhance your career prospects. In fact, listen to this stat. A strong personal brand can lead to 10 to 20% increase in income, according to a 2023 study by Career Builder. So even getting a raise at your current job, making a move to somewhere else on the other side of a personal brand. 92% of recruiters use social media to find candidates. And so it's a preemptive move even to start building your personal brand on your YouTube channel. Now, if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, you can increase the value of your business and drive sales. For entrepreneurs, 72% say personal branding has helped them acquire new customers. So personal branding, if you're as a business owner, service provider, if you haven't stepped into that game yet, there's more revenue waiting on the other side. There's more leads, there's more prospects. You can attract opportunities. You can build a portfolio as a body of work. And I think the other powerful thing about having a personal brand is accelerating trust in an AI world. In 2025, AI is everywhere. And so check out this stat. 63% of Americans are more likely to buy from you if you have an established personal brand. And one of the things that you look at from Google, and this is a evaluator of quality content on websites that Google uses, and it's EEAT. And it stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. EEAT. This formula is the key to success on YouTube and the internet in 2025. Because we're going to see this massive rise of AI. We're already seeing it. We're going to see a massive rise of like lower quality content or like good information, but like it's AI. Like it's just going to be everywhere. It's like anybody can chat GPT that. Anybody can Gemini that. But you know what nobody can do? They can't be you. They can't have your stories. They can't have your experience. So what's interesting is Google is basically saying for websites, and Google owns YouTube, that we want to surface information that's not just from AI, that like all of that is common. We want to surface information, one, with experience. So what's your personal brand? Your experience, your stories, your struggles, your trauma, your ups, your down, your scars, your lessons. Your expertise. Okay. It's one thing to know facts, but expertise knows context. nuance? What have you lived through? You know, whatever you start your YouTube channel about, it's like you've birthed 5 kids, 10 kids. Have you birthed 10 kids? You know, you've raised them. You've had a couple businesses that you've grown and sold and that have failed and exit and bankruptcies and some things. Like, there's some lessons in there. There's some grit in there. You know, you've had the ups and downs. You made it through college. Like, the different things that you can take and share online. Authoritativeness. You have credentials, experience, and then trustworthiness. And so this is what's cool about this is AI can't have these things. I love AI, and I think it can help content creators go faster. But being a real human on the internet, having a YouTube channel that's really you as a person and as a personal brand, like, eventually everyone's going to have an AI chatbot giving them information on their website. Cool. Where's that connection with you? And if I could watch your videos, learn a little bit about you, hear about how you can add value, hear some of your stories, it's going to be this massive trust accelerator. This is already true, and it's going to be more true as we go throughout 2025. And so one reason to start a YouTube channel is to build or continue to build and amplify your personal brand. Number 3, generate multiple streams of income. It's true. YouTube is a massive money-making opportunity. Now, we're not going to go super deep into this in this video, but there's 2 big categories I want to cover. There is making money on YouTube, and then there's making money with YouTube. There's like 7 ways to make money on YouTube. There's like 14 plus ways to make money with YouTube. And I actually have a YouTube challenge coming up where we're going to be talking about that and other things. If you're thinking about starting a channel, wanting to get your first or next 1,000 subscribers, if you go to tube1kchallenge.com, you could register for that for free. But I'll hit a couple of them. So making money on YouTube is this idea that like you can make money on YouTube itself. Most people know this, but once you get approved for the YouTube Partner Program, you can get paid for views. But you can also do things like channel memberships. And you can also do things like super chats. If you're live, people can tip you. And then there's things like Brand Connect once you qualify, where you can get brand deals right through YouTube. YouTube Shopping is a massive wave right now. Affiliate marketing built right into YouTube. And we're seeing shopping on all kinds of the other vertical platforms. This is only going to be bigger as the future continues. In fact, this last few months, we earned a few $1,000s just doing tests and experiments with YouTube Shopping on our main YouTube channel, Think Media. So that's on YouTube. It's very interesting. You want to be thinking about your strategy. One, you might just want to start knowing like there's financial opportunity and I'll figure this out as I go. But there's this one path of making money on YouTube. And then there's this path of making money with YouTube. And the big idea there is like, you could make money with anything, meaning if you put a billboard up in your city, you could pay the money and perhaps somebody driving by takes action and goes to a website or calls the phone number. You could, use other social media platforms to try to get attention. But this would just be, the platform's more of a marketing channel to affiliate marketing. The platform's a marketing channel to your own merchandise or your own events or your own coaching or it's a marketing it brings awareness to leads and prospects. Again, maybe a business owner, you want to buy or sell houses as a real estate agent, meet prospects, maybe you're doing network marketing on YouTube versus with YouTube. And you know what's interesting? It makes me think of a story of why you don't need a huge channel if you've got the right financial strategy. And so one of our students named Jen DeVore Richter had 546 subscribers. And she sent us an email and said, I just had an $11,000 a week thanks to your VRA program, which is our main YouTube education program. But here's the point. She made $11,000 in a week, not a month, because her small YouTube channel brought awareness to her services. Now, she actually had an agency that serves business owners, so that would mean you're making money with YouTube. YouTube becomes this way to drive awareness to your bigger financial strategy, your bigger economic strategy. But here's the good news. Even if you're like, I'm not even sure, I just kind of want to start making videos, well, it's still a great time to start, knowing that there's so many future opportunities as you start to chart out your, what we would call a YouTube money plan, and that the ways continue to multiply. I mean, they truly do. YouTube has a dedicated force of a team that is trying to think about how creators can continue to earn in more ways. Whether that was not only adding YouTube Shorts, but then adding monetization to YouTube Shorts, recently adding YouTube Shopping. And then as it comes to making money on the internet in general, the ways continue to multiply as well. So generating multiple streams of income, I think the right mentality to have is this isn't like get rich quick. It's not like the day you start your YouTube channel, it's like you have multiple streams of income. But I think it's knowing, is there a reason to go all in on YouTube? Yeah, the financial opportunity is real. If I commit to this thing, if I'm diligent, disciplined, I skill up, and I'm also patient, there is a lot of money to be made down the road. Number 4, establish influential digital real estate and future-proof your brand. Now I'm excited to unpack this one because we're about to get deep and kind of a little bit more advanced, but establish influential digital real estate and future-proof your brand is kind of a whole different way of thinking of why it's worth investing in YouTube. Here's some categories. Create strategic business assets. So under this, I think about intellectual property, an archive of content, a base of subscribers, building an email list, and building a text message list. It's not that you have to do all of these things, but the power of starting a YouTube channel over time, and I just think looking back over my career now, like what is the value of the main channel Think Media? Well, even just in and of itself, it earns $380,000 to $500,000 to $450,000 a year in ad revenue. It's a media library, and that's intellectual property of videos that are assets. Well, will they be assets forever? Well, nothing necessarily is assets forever, but you're actually building up a body of work. You're building up IP, intellectual property. And as you actually create your YouTube channel, should you kind of go down maybe an education path, you might start to develop proprietary processes, frameworks. Like we have our 7R system is a proprietary process. It's a framework. So intellectual property, an archive of content, your subscriber base. Now there's also, I mentioned email lists and text because it's also a good idea not to depend only on YouTube. But if you're building up subscribers, that has value as a strategic business asset. If you're building up an email list as well and letting people know about how they could get on a newsletter or get some other value. And again, these are options, but a text message list, these are all business assets that could be the second order consequences of you just getting serious, punching fear in the face, and starting to create content on YouTube. And like I mentioned, we're taking this to a pretty advanced level. I'm coming to you on almost the 10-year anniversary of Think Media, and I just mean from going full time. There was like 5 years before that when I just posted my first ever video, like about, I don't even remember, how to stay informed in media. Maybe we have a clip of it. And I just kept going. And so there's like levels to the game, and you never know what's going to happen over time as you build up valuable assets. Another one is to leverage tax advantages for business owners and media companies. One of the reasons to go all in on YouTube, you got a 9-to-5 right now. You've got your main job, your main income. Starting not a hobby, but starting an online business or a side business has great tax advantages. Now, I'm not a CPA, and so this is not financial advice. And I'm speaking to you from America and in the US, but this is real. And so you can do your research to realize, like, okay, I am passionate about doing this. I would love to do this, but I'm not just going to make videos necessarily and treat it just as a hobby. I am going to go in with the intent of starting an online business. And in doing so, now I could write off my home office square footage. I could buy computers and cameras, and those become tax write-offs. I think about this. Consider, one of the main things I have done and do is I'm a tech reviewer. So I review cameras and gear. And so I remember when my friend Nick said, hey, do you want to go to Colorado and go skiing and snowboarding? And so I thought about it and I thought, okay, that'd be interesting. And I would always ask, like, how could this be a write-off? Check with my CPA. Could this be a write-off? Is it ordinary and necessary? Now, just a leisurely trip. Maybe he is one of our students, a business colleague. Could we do some meeting things? Yeah, but do we have to go there? Well, here was the interesting idea. Action cameras. Okay. I review action cameras, GoPros. At the time, there was a camera called the Yi 4K. And so I was like, well, is it ordinary and necessary? IRS terms. This is not financial advice, but to go test an action camera in a real environment, I got to get it in the snow, get it in the temperature, put the wear and tear of the wind, and it's meant for action. So now, is this a legitimate trip, filming every day with the camera, getting footage? That footage is edited into a video. And so now this trip has become a business trip. Okay. So then you have the meals on the trip because you got to eat. Those are 50% deduction at the time. And I know we're probably getting geeky and I just lost all audience retention at this point in the episode. But this is just a way of thinking. Okay, you want to go to cool events, cool cities, network with other creators, collaborate, film podcasts, do different things. Why not see if those things could become a way to save money on taxes? And there's always like the meme of like, oh, it's a write-off, so I don't have to pay for it. Well, no. Like, you still pay for it. You just are paying for it with pre-tax dollars. You're able to maybe increase the thing you're passionate about, stretch your dollar further. Something to look into. In fact, I'll link in the show notes to some episodes with some CPAs on how to leverage YouTube for tax advantages, other things business owners can do. And here's the big idea. You're not just starting a hobby YouTube channel, you're starting a media company. So something to think about. Now, evergreen content. YouTube videos can remain relevant for years. We've kind of already touched this one. But when we talk about future-proofing your brand and digital real estate, you creating ranked videos and building a library of media assets on your YouTube channel is what I mean by digital real estate. Like, there's, fast forward to today, and Think Media will show up on the other side of a lot of searches, our various podcasts or our main channel. That's digital real estate. This is the reason why you hear us say the term ranked videos. A ranked video is a video that basically shows up if you type in a search term. There you are on that top result or that first page on the other side. That's real estate. Now, it might be temporary because videos can move around. And another way to think about a ranked video is when someone expresses intent. And if you've ever typed something into YouTube, like if you were like shopping for a dog and you were like, Boston Terrier, and if you type in Boston Terrier to the YouTube search bar and you start watching some videos, what's going to happen? All kinds of Boston Terriers are being recommended all over your homepage and they start showing up in your suggestions. So a ranked video just means YouTube starts promoting you, whether they show you on the suggested or anywhere else. And so as you master this skill, by starting before you're ready, by ignoring the whole tax advice part at this point, because you don't need to necessarily worry about that first. There's a lot of things in this video you could even set to the side. It's like, start before you're ready, start messy, ready is a lie, start poop your pants scared. You got to just go for it, But just knowing that over time, YouTube is like a fine wine. It gets better with age. And that's evergreen content that can grow in value. And then the last thing here is, this kind of ties into number 3 as well, personal branding, is think about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and how he's leveraged his personal brand for massive success, but then also how he's future-proofed his brand and continued to compound the value. So by doing a thing, and that might, in our case, again, I know we're starting a lot smaller, and I'm not saying we're going to become The Rock, but I mean, I think wrestling, right? I don't know if that was first, but I think he gets into wrestling, WWE, WWF, builds his body, builds his influence, but then he starts to do the acting thing. Then he starts to get a social media following. Then he starts to build his personal brand. Okay, what's that lead to? Okay, Terramana Tequila launches a business, breaks records. Zoa Energy, is that how you say it? ZOA energy drink. Project Rock, Under Armour. $7 Productions, XFL, his film projects. Future-proof your brand. Establish influential digital real estate. These two kind of compound. You just never know where you're going to be. And so bring this down to like your local city. Don't you want to be like if you want to be like the number one real estate agent in your local city, or you want to be a couple hundred subscribers on your YouTube channel, as well as your influence in the community, the digital assets you're building, the online branding, your website ranking, the SEO, there's no reason why you can't be The Rock of your county and have media assets, and it could lead you to deals and open doors and networking. And this is kind of all the points stacking. You want to start your YouTube channel today, because if you're going to be future-proofed for tomorrow's going to be too late. And so now's the time to do the work. Now's the time to press record, which brings us to number 5, which is fight evil, tyranny, misinformation, and lies, and generally bad advice on the internet. Now, I don't know what your ambitions are. You might be like, Sean, I'm just starting a gaming channel. Like, what the heck are you talking about? But I think that one of the coolest reasons to start YouTube is because of something you're passionate about and a cause you truly care about. And the fact is this: we have seen now YouTube disrupt elections. We have seen social media just flip political powers in countries. And I'm not trying to go too high level, right? It's like, are we going to do that with our small channels? I just want to encourage you. It's like, there's a quote that says, the only way that evil can triumph is if good men and women stay silent. Like, there's just something about you raising your voice and joining the conversation. We are seeing a disruption of traditional media and the rise of independent content creators. And I just think there's a massive opportunity. Now, I also understand that with great power comes great responsibility. And so I hope you're not spreading misinformation or lies or anything like that. But it's like when you hold yourself to a high character and a high ethic and high integrity, and there's probably some things that frankly kind of tick you off. You know, you like look around and you're like, man, this is happening in culture. This is happening in my city or my country. Like, we're living in a world where independent people can join the conversation, where the gatekeepers are gone. And my personal conviction is there's real evil in the world and there's real good. And we need more purpose-driven people raising their voice and starting meaningful YouTube channels. Even if that just means bringing more positive and values building and faith building content creatively to the platform, more people with high values and high ethic building educational YouTube channels. We have the opportunity to fight tyranny and to fight evil and to fight misinformation and to fight generally just bad advice that gets spread on YouTube. And I want to encourage at least one person watching this that the next generation needs mentors. Like, they need real wisdom. They need real life advice from people that have real experience. I think there's a massive opportunity right now for people in their 40s, people in their 50s, people in their 60s to start YouTube channels. There is too many 20-year-old life coaches, and there's too many 23-year-old business experts. Respect to the next generation that's doing some incredible things, and to the 1% of them that actually maybe have a legitimate business acumen that they've built at a very young age. Unfortunately, a lot of it's just smoke and mirrors and knowing how to game algorithms, rent cars, rent and lease jewelry or whatever, to just like front on social media to scam or mislead people. We just need people with real substance. And it doesn't mean you're going to have a huge audience or a viral audience, but who's waiting for you to show up and take your dreams and goals seriously on YouTube? Who could be waiting on the other side of you punching fear in the face and bringing valuable content from a life that you've lived, from the highs and the lows, the mistakes you've made, the wisdom you've gained? The world is flooded with information right now, but it's starving for wisdom. And so I hope that one or two people listening to this episode maybe thinks, okay, there's a money-making opportunity. I could build a personal brand. I could grow an audience. I could even see some future benefits here. But there's also a cause. Like, what fires you up? What gets you excited? If you just are going to create an entertaining channel, that's cool too. You might be like, I'm not exactly fighting tyranny, Sean. Like, relax. I understand. But I think there's something about digging to a deeper level of purpose. And we need good men and good women that are willing to get uncomfortable and start YouTube channels. Now, I'm curious, if you watch the YouTube version, which of these points did you like best? Is there any other reasons you could think about why now is a great time to start a YouTube channel? And if you want some more help, I'm actually hosting a 5-day challenge. It's entirely free. It's called the Tube 1K Challenge. I'll link to it in the show notes, or you can go to tube1kchallenge.com. Every day we learn something. Every day you'll be challenged to do something, to get started, to plan out videos, even to film a video. There's some giveaways of cool tech and software, and it's a lot of fun. We only do it a couple times a year. So if you want to register for that for free, go to tube1kchallenge.com. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. Like, rate, share, review wherever you listen to the podcast, and I will see you in a future episode.
Over the last 4 years, it's been this roller coaster of magic.
We are all dreaming of another promotion.
To make a diamond, you have to have pressure.
It's a friendly competition, but not so friendly.
Realistically, we will lose, but
You don't put that in!
We're going into a really tough division.
A baptism of fire.
What could possibly go wrong? Cheers!
With the Prologue SUV, we've dreamed up a better EV, just like you'd expect from Honda. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today.
Took maybe 6 to 7 months to get monetized.
Becky started her YouTube channel with a broken phone and now makes over 6 figures.
I have a lot of videos uploaded on my channel at this point, but the ones that always do the best for me are kind of my tutorials. How to sell on Poshmark, how to resell from beginning to end, how to... I think the majority of my income has been affiliate marketing. My advice for people who are struggling to figure out like how to find their viewers is...
So Becky started her YouTube channel with a broken phone and now makes over 6 figures. And in this episode of the Think Media podcast, she's going to be sharing her lessons, mistakes, and tips, as well as how she earns money in multiple different ways and how she gets it all done, balancing being a choir teacher as well as a content creator. And so Becky Park is a high school choir teacher who resells clothing online. And she started her YouTube channel documenting her journey a few years ago, and it has grown to be a great success with lots of challenges and lessons along the way. And so I'm excited to learn from her today. Becky, welcome to the Think Media podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I would love to give us a little context about starting your channel. What year did you start? How fast did it grow? And how long did it take for your channel to get monetized?
Yeah. So my husband and I were both teachers. I teach high school choir, like you said. My husband teaches first grade, and we just don't make a lot of money being teachers. And it was just kind of hard, like day to day, living paycheck to paycheck. I had learned about reselling and never utilized YouTube as a way to learn about how to do things. But as I was like typing into Google, like, how can I make more money selling more things on Poshmark? It kept directing me to different YouTube videos. So I would start watching them and learning a ton and being like, oh, like this is something people do to put food on the table. Like they just sell old clothes online. So I started doing that for about a year and a half. I started reselling basically in 2018. And then in 2019, I, at that point, had been trying to grow my Instagram, just, sharing any tips and tricks I was learning along the way as a reseller. And a friend of mine was like, he found me randomly on Instagram and learned about this side life I was living that he knew nothing about. And he was like, what are you going to do with this? Like, this is pretty cool. And I said, I'd eventually like to have a YouTube channel and share what it's like to be a reseller from like a part-time perspective. And I was like, but I'll probably wait till I have like 10,000, followers on Instagram and try to bring them over. And he was like, it doesn't work like that. He was like, you have to start right now. And he's like, I'll help you. So he helped me get started in 2019. Made maybe my first 3 or 4 videos for me. He's like a professional videographer and stuff. And then he was like, I don't have time for this anymore. So I was left with my broken phone and iMovie and just having to figure it out for myself. But I would say it took maybe 6 to 7 months to get monetized. It happened pretty rapidly. And he was right, not like a very, very small percentage of my Instagram followers followed me over YouTube. But I was able to find an audience on YouTube who was hungry for the kind of content that I was creating. And it didn't take too long.
So take us back to those early days. This broken phone, what a story. A lot of people can relate to maybe having limited gear, limited equipment, as well as also the skill set of even learning how to shoot and make videos. What do you mean by your phone being broken, and what were your circumstances then, and how did you figure out the content creation process?
So thankfully, as a choir teacher and just as a musician, like I've had some experience just recording into things like GarageBand and stuff. So I knew how to, again, I'm not a professional or anything, but I knew how to like cut out sounds that I didn't like or enhance things. I knew how to look at the sound waves and make cuts where appropriate, things like that. But my phone at the time was just really old. It did not have a lot of storage. My laptop was really old, did not have a lot of storage. And so I remember I think I sat down and filmed a video on my phone. I just stacked a bunch of books on top of each other, stuck something behind the phone, pointed it at me, and I talked at it for a half hour or something, and that was fine. When I went to transfer the file from my phone over to my laptop so I could edit, my laptop was like, nope, can't do it. Like I cannot, So I tried a lot of different things. I think that first time I tried cutting down that 30-minute video into like 2-minute segments, and I was able to do it. It took forever. So from that point on, I would just film for 2 minutes, stop, start again, film for 2 minutes. And then I would just send all these little baby video files over to my laptop. And even then, sometimes if there were too many files, if the video was just a little bit longer, my laptop would just shut down. It was so old, it couldn't handle all of that data. So
it's such a lesson in resourcefulness to just use what you had at the time. And how long until you upgraded? How long until you started to invest in maybe a better camera or new gear?
I think I filmed like that for 2 years. And, I had gotten monetized. I had started making some pretty decent money with affiliate marketing. And I think my husband was the one that was like, you know what? I think that we should get you a for real camera at this point. Like, you've definitely earned the right to be able to invest in some better equipment. So yeah, I got, I don't know, I think you had recommended it in one of your videos. It's one of those Sony vlogging type of cameras. And then I got a new laptop. And my whole world changed. Everything went so much faster at that point.
Do you still edit your videos today?
So I just hired a video editor maybe earlier this year. So I had been doing it myself since 2019. And I still will edit a few, probably every month. I'll still do like 1 or 2 just because of the nature of the video and knowing it'd be more work for me to explain everything to my video editor and give him all of the different screenshots of things that he would need versus me just doing it myself. I like editing. I think it's a really creative way to create something. It's the time piece, and it's trying to juggle being a mom and a teacher and reselling and content creator. It's all those things. Something had to give, and it was the editing.
So how did you find that editor?
So I started by just posting something on Facebook. I got a ton of spam. I guess I did it during Grow With Live. I was like, I have to give something away. I think it was like during one of the sessions I posted it on Facebook. And I guess people have like alerts for terms like video editor. And so I just got a ton of people messaging me. I actually took the time to like interview people. And then I was like, this is not working. But I had a former student, her older sister's now husband. he edits. And the sister had reached out and was like, I know someone, he's really great. So I interviewed him and it's been great.
That's amazing. So one of your key lessons is that you've learned that teaching something start to finish in an entertaining way can change people's lives. And that was one of the strategies that has helped you grow your channel. Can you explain that and what you mean by that and how people can maybe apply that to their content?
Yeah, so I have a lot of videos uploaded on my channel at this point, and I have a few different styles, but the ones that always do the best for me and the ones that continue to perform even years after having made them are kind of my tutorials, how to sell on Poshmark, how to resell from beginning to end. And even though for me, it's kind of boring to make those videos, it's stuff that I learned a long time ago. And I'm kind of like, who wants this kind of stuff? A lot of people want someone to hold their hand and take them from beginning to end and teach them how to do something. And I think that has become the best videos for me, mainly because of my teaching background. Like a lot of the comments that I'll see from people who've watched the video are, thank you for explaining this in such a simple way, or thank you for explaining this in a way that made me feel like I could do it too. And at that point, they're just so grateful that you've taught them how to do something that they thought was so hard or so overwhelming. That's when they'll hit that subscribe button and decide to kind of stick with you for the remainder of their journey as well. But yeah, I think teaching people how to do something, there's a need for that. There's a Google search that will lead them to that. So that's how I've been able to find a little bit of success.
Yeah, you're part of our program, Video Reiki Academy. We talk about answer specific questions. We talk about teach specific skills. And I agree with you. Sometimes this stuff, it maybe doesn't even seem exciting. And sometimes it's like the curse of knowledge too. It's like, well, people, don't they already know this? Mm-hmm. Or like, they might figure this out or look somewhere else. But we're living in a world where people want YouTube videos to walk them through things. I just unboxed my DJI Pocket 3 and I'd even revealed Think Media videos that we had not made that we should make, because I got to a place where I was like, how do I set the white balance on this? And the way I wanted that question answered was YouTube. I asked the question to YouTube, I found a video, and that was the very specific video that then walked me through. Video had almost 100,000 views, just like teaching a specific skill or solving a specific problem. What has kind of been your experience when you dove into Video Reiki Academy? Why'd you join that program? And at what stage on your journey were you in?
So before I started my YouTube channel, because it was something that I knew I eventually wanted to do, I spent probably a solid year just watching videos on YouTube about how to YouTube. Among my favorites were your videos, just breaking down how to do different things, how to find your audience, whatever. I spent like a solid year just consuming as much content about that as possible. So when I did finally jump into starting my own channel, I felt kind of like I knew what I was doing. Like I always knew what the next step was because I had been in that world for so long, at least just listening to what a lot of people were saying about it. But as you kind of continue, it is a little lonely, if you don't have people around you that you can sit down with in real time who also channels, to be able to sit with them and say, well, this is working for me. How about you? Or I don't know what to do. I thought this video was going to take off and all I'm getting is crickets. It's kind of hard to do something like this all by yourself. And because I had followed you so closely and listened to so much of your advice on YouTube, I don't even remember like how I found out that you had a course or why or whatever. I think I was interested in the course piece of it, knowing